We are going to we are going to design a general purpose ticket master. So ticket
Uh,
master is something where which allows a ticket master is a website which
mhm.
allows people to buy tickets on the platform. Okay,
Okay.
so it can be event, it can be a ticket to any event or ticket to any concert or movie tickets as well. So it's a general aggregator for uh,
Okay. All
selling the
kinds.
tickets. Yeah, online ticket portal.
Okay.
Okay, now uh, this the ticket master that you will be designing, it should be a highly available system where
Mm.
there can be millions of users who will be using the system. They'll be able to search on the basis of city or search on, given a search criteria, the ticket master should return all the available tickets, and people should be able to book the tickets by
Oh,
viewing
wait,
or
wait,
by.
wait. A little bit slow. Wait. Just
Yeah,
okay. I lost you after highly available. So you told me that we can search on basis of city, right?
yeah, on the basis of city you can
City.
search,
Okay.
or there can be other search criteria as well,
Other
similar
side.
to how you have book my show, right? If you
Yeah.
enter your city
Exactly.
Mumbai, it
Hmm.
will display all the available tickets or display
Hmm.
all the shows
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, that you are interested in. You select one of the shows, then you select the movie theater that you want to visit. After
Hmm.
that, you, the user will be given a list of tickets or uh, list of seats that he wants to book.
Hmm.
That he can select those seats,
Hmm.
and once the seats are selected, then after that he should be able to perform a transaction. But
Hmm.
let's assume for now that when he's performing a transaction with a third party, he will be redirected to some different website,
Hmm. Hmm.
and eventually once the transaction is successful,
Hmm.
callback will be
Hmm. Got it. To
your
our
third
service.
party will issue a callback on your
Right.
website.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, it's like a book my show with
Yes.
the option to book tickets of any kind he wants,
Yeah.
and he'll come to my website or any app. Then
Mm-hmm.
he will have the option to search, or yeah, you'll have the option to search on basis of city. And after he
Mm-hmm.
selects the city, he will have the option to search what kind of ticket he want to search, right? Like a movie ticket or a event ticket or
Yes,
something like that.
exactly.
Okay, after he
Yes.
selects the event type, he will have the option to go to a page where he will have the list of tickets available. No, no. Then he'll have option theater, right? Which theater he wants to book. So
Yeah, place
after
or
that,
any place where he wants to book the
mhm,
ticket. Yeah.
okay, right. Simple like booking ticket. Okay. Another criteria that should be a highly available system. Okay. All right.
Yes.
So should I start from the database first? So would that be better?
Yeah, I think you can first list down all the functional requirement, non-functional requirements.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
then you can move to data modeling,
Hmm.
API design. After that,
Okay.
we'll get into the
Okay.
intricacies and try to optimize each of the operations. Okay.
Okay. Like you already mentioned to me that the first functional requirement is that this should be a site which should allow user to book ticket, right? It's a booking ticket
Hmm.
website,
Hmm.
and there should be a option of search
Hmm.
on variety of parameters,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
For example, let's assume that he wants to search on basis of location first,
Yeah.
le- and search on basis of movie perhaps. Okay. Yeah.
Hmm.
We want that. Okay.
Search on the basis of location, and after
Okay.
that, he can
Okay, we'll see. We'll see
type the
then.
event. That, yeah, that should be it.
Okay. Such a location event. Okay. Then third criteria, third requirement is that uh, yeah, should be able to book the ticket, right? He should have option to book the ticket and should get a confirmation that the ticket is booked, something like that. Right?
Yes.
Hmm. He should have booked the ticket, search for the ticket, book the ticket. That should
Hmm.
be a user profile page, I guess, where you can see all those something, all the tickets he has booked, something like that. Do you want that or only
Sorry.
means that could be user profile page, like the tickets he has booked, something to see
No,
all?
no, that is not required. But it may
Okay.
happen that So let's say um, there's a huge volume, or your
Hmm.
website has received a huge volume. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
there are a lot many transactions happening on your website,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
let's say there are only 3 or 4 seats left.
Hmm.
Now, it may happen that one person might book the 4 tickets, but he might
Hmm.
be redirected to the payment gateway, but somehow he did not complete the transaction.
Hmm.
In that case, there might be other users who might be logged on it, or
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
other
Hmm.
users who might
Yeah,
be
yeah.
interested in buying those four
Hmm.
tickets.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
as soon as the transaction gets declined, or if
Hmm.
the once the transaction gets declined, so these seats will become available. Now,
Hmm. Hmm.
once these seats become available,
Hmm.
then a notification should be sent to the user, the
Hmm.
other users who are waiting on it, so that
Hmm.
they can perform the transaction, or they can book
Notification.
the tickets.
So wait. So after the user has like suppose the payment is not successful, do we
Hmm.
want a notification to be sent to the other users that the seats become available right now?
Yeah, let's say you define some time period, let's say 15 or 20 minutes. Okay, within
Okay.
that 15 or 20-minute duration,
Hmm.
if the if the seats are not booked, or if the tickets are not confirmed,
Hmm.
okay, if the ticket is not confirmed, then those seats become available, right? Other users can
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
But do you
book
want
tickets on the
notification
website.
for that? Means it happens, right?
Hmm.
We don't get notification for it, but we means it automatically becomes available. Then the next user can again come after a period and search. It's not that we
Yeah,
get notification like the seat has become available right now. Come
yeah.
in.
So you can send a notification. In this case, the backend should send a notification
Okay, that should be
once the seats
notification.
become available. Yeah,
Okay, that's the notification kind of mechanism, right? That's what I wanted to
yeah,
say.
yeah, correct.
Okay, all right, cool. So yeah, so let's
Just
see.
like how in Uber you get a notification, right, that your
Right,
ride
all
has been cancelled and somebody else has been allotted to you. So
mhm.
same way you can
Okay,
think of
okay,
think of
okay,
this feature in the same way in
okay,
here.
okay, cool. So for now, let's assume that whatever the function requirement I choose is that should be a search criteria
Yeah.
on location and event. That should be a booking mechanism, like it should be able to book the ticket. That should be
Mm-hmm.
a mechanism for handling the transaction, like if like millions of users are trying at time, then how am I going to handle like handling the bulk transaction, something like that, right? So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and that's the notification kind of mechanism in the system to send.
Hmm.
Other than
Yes.
that, any requirement do you see I'm missing out? Should
Yeah,
I
I
put?
think yeah, most of them you have covered most of it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And okay, in non-functional, okay, the first thing already you mentioned, like should be a highly available system.
Yeah.
So my system should be like 99.99 or something equivalent available.
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, non-functional requirement, any specific you want in the system?
Mm, you can think of
Uh,
anything.
okay,
Can
apart
think
from
of anything.
highly available, yeah, so the fault tolerant, something like that, right?
Hmm.
A fault tolerant system and scalable, like something like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's take this three for start, or should I add more?
I think this should be
Okay.
sufficient.
Okay. All right. So okay. So next part is let's go for service. Or you want to go in data model? Maybe I can start all the service I need for booking this application, making this application. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So for starter, I believe that like because our application is going to handle like millennium transactions,
Mm-hmm.
so I'll be proceeding with the architecture of microservices.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
because already is like my in my requirement only it is mentioned that my system is going to have millions from the beginning only. So let's start from microservices. I'm not going to have monolithic first and then microservices. Let's start from microservice architecture. All
Mm-hmm.
right.
Fine.
Okay. So for that, okay, let's first. I'm thinking, okay, what can I suggest join it? Then I'll point it here in the image. Okay.
Okay. For
Nice.
the sake of this problem, we'll not worry about authentication authorization.
Okay. All
Assume
right.
that
Yeah. Okay.
authentication and authorization is by default handled
Okay. All
in
right.
your microservices.
Okay. So okay. Okay. So let's and so do in this system do we have web application or do we have Android application also? Means what kind of
Uh,
client do we have here?
you can have any type of clients. It should support all the clients.
Awesome.
You can
Okay.
book the tickets either using a web browser running on your mobile app, or you can use a mobile client directly.
Okay. All right. So okay, that's where multiple client support.
It can be any, even your curl command becomes a client, right? In this case, and authorization headers.
Hmm. Right. So the services I think first is that should be
Mm-hmm.
a user service, right?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we cannot send notification to the user, or how the user know like what book ticket he want to book. So a
Mm-hmm.
user service should show all the tickets is booked or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll have a uh, search service. Then after search service is working, this here the option to select seats. So in that case, I'll call my okay service. So when you search this, then you have the option to select. So search and select. Then I'll call it booking service. Booking service. Right. Okay. All right. Okay. Should be a notification kind of mechanism. So let's go for that. And that also be also a payment service. So so once the user is able to see the search for the movie,
Mm-hmm.
so after that, do the user has a provision to see information about the movie, like for example, like what's the rating and all something, and
Yeah, I think you can assume for now, you can add as many attributes as you want for any
okay
type
for the
of
movie.
event. So movie is one type of event, then you can have a singing concert as another type of event, and it is
Okay.
up to you
Mm,
to add type of attributes. So
mm,
these can be
mm,
attributes. So the rating that you're talking about, or the review comments, or anything of
mm.
that sort becomes an attribute. So you're free to
Okay.
use those.
All right. This is my all backend services. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what I will do is there will be a gateway service kind of thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, command C, command V. What is gateway service is responsible for is okay. Normally it can be responsible for authenticating and all, but for this case, it also has this responsibility of like first the user will hit the gateway service. The gateway service will be our like exposed to user. Then
Mm-hmm.
suppose the user want to first see his screen or whatever he has booked, so you will redirect to a user service. And then suppose user wants to search something, so there will be
Mm-hmm.
a suppose endpoint of search based on event.
Mm-hmm.
In the client there will be multiple options like search based on um, concert, search based on movies, search based
Mm-hmm.
on some games perhaps. So what
Mm-hmm.
this gateway service will do, it will call now search service. Like it's the exposed point to the outside. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
and and of course like each to be able to search,
Mm-hmm.
that's 1 second, there should be a database specific to each of them, like um, a user should have a different database, and similarly all the booking related to users should have a different database,
Okay.
and similarly all the such like um, search information, like you want to search something, that's a
Mm-hmm.
different database. Basically I have distributed database system here.
Okay, fine.
So okay, doesn't matter. Okay, so let's talk about APIs first. Then, based on the
Mm-hmm.
API, I
Sure.
will think like how the design change, or what are the problems. Like that would give more, a more better idea to figure out
Yeah,
things.
yeah. API design and your data modeling can go hand in hand.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, okay. For first, when the user hits, he will be shown a screen where there will be option for him to, visualize or see what kind of things you want to search. Like the how book my show happen is that similar to that there'll be tabs,
Mm-hmm.
basically tabs for like four major things like movie, concert,
Mm-hmm.
and then suppose games
Mm-hmm.
or any other thing like what do you call this, comedy shows suppose. Okay, let's
Yeah.
assume. So there'll be categories, tags for all these kind of things, and when
Mm-hmm.
user selects on a particular category, then this search service will be called. So like for example, what is
Yeah.
the
So what will the API look like for the search
yeah,
service?
search by, you're right. So yeah, so what I'll do is I'll not just bundle up everything. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
want to search for a movie, first what
Yeah.
I'll do is that he'll select on this movie. Suppose you
Mm-hmm.
want to come and search a movie, so I'll tap for movie. He selects a movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So right now there will be a page which will open for him to search everything on based on movie. So first this
Okay.
search movie will be endpoint will be called. Similarly, there will be search by I don't know concert,
Okay.
and such similar search by um, comedy shows. Okay.
Fine.
So when he hits this endpoint, now he'll have the option to search specifically for movies, for concerts, or for comedy shows. So how it will operate is there will be search bar, and now like what we discussed in the beginning is that
Mm-hmm.
uh, he should first search on basis of um location, right? That's the location.
Correct. Location
So
should be a parameter. Yes.
okay, all right. So what I can do is uh, I can pass location as a parameter, like in the
Mm-hmm.
query string, uh,
Mm-hmm.
like when the search by movie page will open for him.
Mm-hmm.
So then I will allow him to s- select the location he wants. Like there will be option
Mm-hmm.
to select location, and this
Okay.
location will be appended to the query string. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever he's like what will happen right now? So suppose I want to movies get me a movie which is suppose a ten, tenet suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'll pass location as a parameter here. So first of all, one thing I want to clear it out. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me.
do we want once suppose once it clicks on movie, so do we want him to automatically see all movies available in that location, or do we want him to first select the location and
Mm-hmm.
provide the movie, then we'll show him what should be the
See, yeah, see, you're designing your backend. You shouldn't worry about the front end. Now,
okay.
your API, backend API that you're designing should be general purpose. Now, when your endpoint will be, uh, you'll have a single endpoint which is search. Now, it is up to the client to pass to pass the parameters. Now,
Mhm.
if a particular parameter is not passed, for example, if the client wants to view
Mhm.
only movies, then what will happen? The client should pass movie as a parameter.
Mhm. Okay, this will how my API will look. Search
Mm-hmm.
and pass the parameter movies, suppose, then he'll have the option to search movies. Similarly,
Mm-hmm.
concept comedy shows, and then
Mm-hmm.
if he wants to have a particular movie search, then he should
Mm-hmm.
pass the parameter like the movie name he wants to search and the location he wants to
Okay.
obtain information. Then after he search for the movie, then like yeah. So what I will do is I will obtain the information like how many tickets are available, what's the price of the what's the price of the ticket, something like that.
Okay.
So what will happen is um, this search will
So you what kind of API will this be? Will it be a RESTful API?
yeah, it will be restful kind of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so RESTful APIs have a method type, right? So what will be
Yeah,
the method type?
it will get
Get. Okay.
all means so like the it's a verb, right? The method can be depending on the requirement. Like in this case, if I want to get request and research a movie, for
Hmm.
this in this case post doesn't make a sense, right? So I
Hmm.
can have this get also, or sometimes it's better to means depending on requirement, like to also make get doesn't make any sense, right?
Hmm. Okay.
So okay movie here
So
will
either you can use a get API or a post API over here. What would you prefer in this case?
I would prefer Get API here.
And any reason why you won't use Post API?
Why I want to use a Get API here?
No, why you won't use a Post API? See, client can use a Post API as well,
Yeah.
but here we are preferring Get API over
Uh,
Post. So any
the
specific reason?
Okay. The reason I think I can do two things here. Like
Hmm.
at least post request normally send to change some resource information in the backend, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
like to add a user or to modify a user, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
here, if we pass a post request in the post request body, you can pass two information like
Yeah.
what is the movie name, what's the location.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't make sense, right? Because we're just using the information to fetch information from the backend.
Mm-hmm. Fine.
So if you're not using any resources in the backend, so in post request doesn't make sense, right?
Okay.
So after this, yeah. So yeah, okay. So like that will be info service, okay.
Yeah.
What info service will contain is it will contain like information about that, like there will be a concert, suppose, or there will be
Mm-hmm.
um, a comedy show, like how many
Mm-hmm.
tickets are available, what's the rating, who is the artist, all kind of this information will be stored in a info service. So what the
Mm-hmm.
search service will do is it will internally call this info service to
Mm-hmm.
get information of the particular uh, movie.
So fine. Basically, info service will contain all the information related to your shows, right?
Right.
Price and all other
Ah, right,
details.
right, right,
Maybe
right.
your ratings and other attributes will
Yes,
be
yes.
part of your info. Info will be storing it
Yeah.
in its data store.
Yeah, it will be internal API. So
Hmm.
like search, it will only call by search service. Like internally, it
Hmm.
will call to fetch the information so to the user.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I think we can talk about the booking service now. You can start with the designing of the booking service, and I think booking service will be interacting with your info service will be delegating the call to booking service as well later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that interaction, and
Okay.
maybe you can delve into the database schema design as well for booking
Okay.
service.
Yeah. So right now booking,
Hmm.
yeah, how booking will happen, right?
Yes. How booking will happen.
Yeah. So like there are millions. Let's assume for it's a urban city having
Mm-hmm.
very like movie like Marvel came, so it has a lot of what do you call this, rush to book the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of mechanism, what we can do is I will have something like Docker containers, like this search service will be running in multiple containers. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'll have multiple servers to
Mm-hmm.
run the same service. It will be distributed system basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what will happen is at a single point, my system can handle multiple requests because depending on the load, I can increase my number of servers, number of
Yeah.
containers for a particular
Mm-hmm.
service. So suppose my request right now is increasing to 1 million. Then based on the request, I can increase my number of containers to handle that much of service. There will be load
Mm-hmm.
balancer at the beginning to sorry, there will be gateway service to route the request. It will act basically like a load balancer here.
Fine.
Okay, so all my requests are getting directed to properly. Right
Yeah.
now, the problem comes when there will be 100 seats, and like there will be 1 million users who are trying to book the tickets. In
Mm-hmm.
this time, what you can do is so every theater would have like suppose a number of x number of seats. So for every theater, like suppose I have 100 seats for example. So
Mm-hmm.
every seat would have an ID. So the request which would come to my he wants to book suppose. So there'll be read request, there'll be write request. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when the user will come for suppose he wants to see the seats. Okay. At that
Mm-hmm.
point of time, I will not use the mechanism of this queuing. Means basically I'll have a queue sort of thing, which would act as a uh, means it will actually sync. It will make this call synchronous. Basically,
Okay.
suppose
What is it for? What is the queue for?
to make the call synchronous. Like I don't want
Mm-hmm.
like multiple people to book the same ticket at once.
Mm-hmm.
So
So.
suppose this queue will only come into picture when he try, though he has selected the seat right now. Then when he goes to book the ticket, what will
Yeah.
happen is this he will put the request and the request will go to a queue. So
Okay, fine.
it will like a message queue, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the message queue, that's something that in the front of the message queue will contain the latest request to book the ticket from this user ID. So
So your
Simon,
message queues, what will it consist of? The
yeah,
message queue will consist of
yeah.
only requests that user has created. Is that the case?
Uh,
All
okay.
the requests, all the order requests
Yeah,
the
tell
user
me.
has placed,
So
or the booking requests.
yeah, means whenever a user selects to pay, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am going for booking, so
Yeah.
I see all those seats which are available, which are not filled yet, right?
Yeah.
But when I try to book the ticket, at that point of time, multiple users should not be allowed to book it simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
So I will a queue to make sure that request first come first service is basically to occur. Like all requests
Okay.
which come first
Fine.
should be filtered first.
Okay, but
So
even if you have APIs, even if you're using an API, a web server, whenever it receives a request, it will receive the request in a first come first serve basis, right? Your web server will receive requests in a first come first serve basis itself, correct?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the thing is, right, don't have one notification service. I have multiple notification service, right? So
Mm-hmm.
a different user having a different notification service IP would
Mm-hmm.
still be accessing the information from database of a particular seat, which is not filled yet. So because in my backend, what will happen is once the seat is booked, the seat status will be changed to booked, right? The seat
Mm-hmm.
table status will change to booked. So in
Fine.
that case, I cannot allow multiple user to at a time to access that seat for right purpose. So once the book request is placed, um, so we want to book the ticket. So it will be redirected to a payment service. Like after he selects booking,
Mm-hmm.
he'll go to payment service.
Mm-hmm.
And one second. So if booking service calling a payment service, yeah, no, before calling the bookings payment service, first booking service will lock kind of locking mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
So suppose there will be booking database. So what will happen is there will be a lock for this particular seat. So uh, yeah, I can either use lock or a queue. Uh, okay, give me a second. So if I
Yeah,
use
yeah, sure. You can think about this.
if I use queues here, yeah, no, queue won't make sense here. I'm sorry, because
Yeah.
the reason is uh, because once the first request is purpose is filled, all those pending requests serve no further purpose because the seat is already filled. What you
Mm-hmm.
can do here is we'll put a lock on the DB. Suppose multiple users are trying to access the do a write request.
Mm-hmm.
Once any of the user is trying to modify it, we'll have a lock on this particular row or seat he wants to do a transaction on.
Mm-hmm.
So once that is blocked, no further request can be entertained. So
Okay, so I have a question here. Since you
yeah,
mentioned that you're going to add a lock on the DB. Now,
yeah,
first of all, locks are expensive, right? Like locks are
right.
expensive to implement, and
Mm.
here you are relying on DB. Now, first we have not decided whether we should whether you should go ahead with SQL database or a NoSQL database. Okay,
Right, right.
first we'll decide that whether we'll use a SQL database or non-SQL
Mhm.
database. Now, coming to the locks. Now, implementing locks or do every database implementation differs, right?
Mhm.
And asset properties
Mhm.
are have different meanings for different databases. Even
Mhm.
if you are having relational database,
Mhm.
the way asset properties are implemented in MySQL using InnoDB is different than the one which the are different than the asset capabilities provided by PostgreSQL,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So yeah, we'll just think if there is any other mechanism that you can think of
Other
other
than
than locking. Yeah, here
uh,
when you say lock, see, you want to you're adding lock just to guarantee atomicity, right? Just to ensure that uh,
yeah.
there's the transaction either happens or the transaction either fails, and there's no mid. The transaction is not left halfway through,
Mhm.
correct?
Mhm.
So, from an application point of view, when you are implementing consistencies, when you guarantee that every read, subsequent read follows the most recent write,
Hmm.
You use a lock on you use locks which are provided by a language. But here, in case of database, how are you going to implement that? Just think about it.
So you want a locking mechanism, right? But
No, not I'm not. Think of any other mechanisms. So locks are basically expensive, right? So, have you heard of optimistic and pessimistic locking?
no.
Okay, no issues. You can just see if you are
Hmm.
familiar with any other paradigm, and you
Okay.
can let me know.
Hmm.
Or you're familiar with transactions in
Hmm.
relational database?
Right, right.
Yeah, so you can leverage that if you want.
Transaction relation database. Okay.
Transactions. So, are you aware how transactions work in a database?
Yeah, means basically, as you said, it's atomic transaction, right? So it will
Yeah.
either have it will go through the entire phase, or if
Hmm.
somewhere it fails, then it will be what you call this rollback will happen.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I think for now transactions would be sufficient. I'll towards the end I'll explain you what
Okay,
will be the better mechanism. Yeah.
okay. So okay, so for now, what do you want me to think about right now?
No, I think you can go ahead with transactions. Just say transactions would
Okay,
be sufficient for now. Yeah.
okay, on transaction only.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, cool. So right now, do you want a DB schema about
Yeah.
it?
You can elaborate on the database schema
Okay, all
of
right.
booking, and we'll complete the payment part in some time. We are
Okay,
talking about booking now. We will complete the payment part
okay,
in
all
two,
right.
3 minutes.
Booking DB. So for now, let's assume it's a SQL database because it's transaction based.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be a theater ID, or suppose a theater table basically, or suppose um, this user has user ID, then theater um, theater ID. Um, okay, then something timing and price. Okay, row ID. Row ID will be better here. Okay, event ID. Okay. So when I'm trying to book, I'll have to store the information of who the user is booking, what he is booking, what's the price. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this
Okay.
is my design for booking database. For example,
Mm-hmm.
like, if the user wants to book for a movie,
Mm-hmm.
then this booking table will contain information of the user who's trying to book. He'll have the information of what event he wants to, like he wants to book a event which is movie, or event which is comedy show, or event which is concert. So every
Mm-hmm.
event will have ID, and based on the event ID, like he wants to suppose um, store information about movie, then he'll have a row ID. So
Mm-hmm.
like which theater or event, theater ID, row ID is storing. Which,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
yes, yes.
Now, this is a booking database, and
Mhm.
your event ID would be stored somewhere, right? Your
Mhm.
event
Yeah,
ID
yeah,
will
yeah.
be stored
Yeah, right.
in your information database. Info service will be accessing that, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you throw some light on the integrity or referential integrity constraints over here? How do you ensure that the row ID or the event ID which is passed in your booking database is a valid row ID or event ID? Or what if the event, let's say if the event gets deleted, if there's a transaction which is taking place which has not been confirmed yet,
Hmm.
and the event somehow gets deleted. So how do you ensure consistency
Mhm.
across databases in this case?
Yeah,
Or
okay.
what would be a better model in this case?
Consistency
So
across databases.
yes,
Okay.
here there will be a referential integrity constraint that you'll have to satisfy across databases,
Hello,
across
your voice
database servers, right?
cut in between. Yeah, voice
Hello.
will cut in between. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So I was just saying, here you'll have to guarantee referential integrity constraints across database servers. Within
Hmm.
a database server, it is your database
Easy.
provides referential integrity constraints off the
Hello.
shelf.
Hmm. Okay, across databases.
Yeah.
How would I handle it? So basically, look, the condition is suppose I was trying to book for
Mm-hmm.
a event
Mm-hmm.
and the event got deleted, right?
Mm-hmm.
But something like that, right?
Yes, correct. This is
But
one simple example where an event might get deleted. So, event, let's say somebody has posted an event and somebody is trying to perform a transaction, but let's say the event gets deleted. Now, what will be the next step?
okay,
This is not an actual use case, but this is just one example of. So my basically my question is that how do you guarantee referential integrity? Just to give you an example, I highlighted this.
okay. Actually, I'm not sure of this one.
Okay,
Yeah.
no issues. Yeah. I think this database schema it seems fine. You can move on to the payment service. We'll conclude with the payment part. You'll talk about the interaction between your booking service, payment service, and how your ticket gets confirmed.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So, so once the user has selected the seats, then he will have the option to book the tickets. So once, so then booking service will
Hmm.
internally, payment service means booking service then call a payment service. Like
Mm-hmm.
it will be a third party, suppose, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and after the payment service returns the information, whatever
Mm-hmm.
the confirmation, either if it fails, then it will be rollback. Like because it's
Mm-hmm.
a relation database, it will be rollback. And
Mm-hmm.
if suppose, for example, is success, then
Mm-hmm.
payment service will return a status 2 to okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then that would trigger this notification service to send a booking confirmation message to the user.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah. So first
Yeah.
we'll book.
Now, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So first we'll book. The booking service will call payment service. The
Mm-hmm.
payment service will then undergo the transaction, this automated transaction, which
Mm-hmm.
make sure the transaction is successful.
Mm-hmm.
Once the transaction is successful, it will send a status 2 to okay, and the
Mm-hmm.
status will be received a booking service. And once booking service receive the status, it will initiate a call to notification service
Mm-hmm.
that booking is confirmed. Send notification to
Yeah.
the correct to this user.
Okay. Just few questions over here. Now,
Hmm.
booking service is interacting with the payment service.
Hmm.
What communication mechanism will booking service use? Whether will it use synchronous communication or asynchronous communication?
Yeah, it should be synchronous, right?
So yeah, well, if you use a synchronous communication, now
Hmm.
let's say your payment has completed.
Hmm.
Payment has completed. It means your transaction is successful and the ticket should be confirmed. Now, let's say your because of some reasons, because of some network failure,
Hmm.
booking service doesn't receive response from the payment service in a stipulated amount of time.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, what are you going to do next?
Hmm. Okay. So, okay. So, because my databases are, uh, means it's not a single database, so I cannot guarantee the atomicity, because if you have a single database, it would have been fine. Because
Mhm.
multiple database, so you can use something like one. There's a mechanism called
You can explain me the mechanism if you
yeah.
don't remember the name,
Basically,
fine.
what will happen is there will be circular kind of means there will be a booking. So what will happen is basically queue kind of structure, like the circular queue kind of structure.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
once booking is done, the status will
Mm-hmm.
change to suppose booking is pending. Means pending means payment is done and is
Yeah.
waiting for confirmation of payment service. Like
Mm.
so, booking service will now call to the payment service. The payment service, once it receives information from the bank servers, it will send
Mm-hmm.
status to okay. Suppose it
Mm-hmm.
receives a failure status,
Mm-hmm.
because the booking status is currently pending because payment gateway has not returned the status to okay. Then at
Okay.
that time I can roll back because I can see the status, like the status is currently pending. So once it return the to status, I can change the status to confirmed.
Yes.
So if suppose when in this amount of time is not confirmed, then I'll just roll back the transaction.
Roll back the transaction, but that would lead to inconsistencies, right? Your payment has been successful, but your
No,
booking, yeah,
yeah, go on.
yeah,
Sorry.
your booking. See, your when you're referring to transaction, are you referring to database transactions or the whole API interaction?
No, database transaction basically.
Yeah, but database transactions, those are independent, right? You can't have a database transaction going on and performing a API call at the same time. So that won't be possible, right?
Hmm.
You'll have to break down. You'll have to either commit the transaction and you can have two. asynchronous process running in, because database is an operation and your API call is also an operation. These can go in parallel, but you can combine both the things together,
Okay.
right? So it will lead to inconsistency. So how do you solve for inconsistencies? That is, your payment service has not responded. The payment status is success. When the payment status changes to success, your booking status should change to confirm from
Hmm.
pending.
Hmm. So actually, there's a name for this distributed transaction management.
Mhm.
It's called
No, this is just to
something.
ensure consistency across databases. So how will you ensure that your transactions are in sync, or transactions or your data is in sync? Data
Actually,
across the databases is in sync.
okay, I'm not sure.
All right, Aman. I think we have completed all the features which were required. I'll start with the feedback then.
Hmm.
This was your first interview, first system
Uh,
design interview, or have you given it before?
this kind of interview means I have given low level design interview. Like I have had
Mm-hmm.
to design game. I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
to design not in this depth means very superficial. Like what kind of service you design, what kind of API do you design, but not to this depth.
Okay, no issues. Fine. So, see, whenever you start with systems design interview, right, you'll always it will be a fairly open-ended problems, and you will have to the interviewer is the one who is supposed to drive the discussion. Okay, and the interviewer generally asks question pertaining to, or will generally ask the trade-offs, just like how I was
Hmm.
asking between you have two choices, and how do you design, or what decisions or what all factors will influence your decision. So
Hmm.
this is generally how typical system design interview works. So first and the foremost thing is to have, before delving into the design, classify your requirements into functional versus non-functional, which you already did fairly. Then next thing you have to do is, see, most of the interviewers or most of the people in tech are already familiar with the microservices architecture, so there's no need to draw the architecture diagrams or
Hmm.
draw the specific microservice diagram, because whenever you say micro, it is understood that nobody's generally, no one in the industry uses a monolith now, right? Every other company uses microservices
Yeah,
architecture.
yeah, or
So it is
SOS.
understood that, yeah, it's understood that you are using microservices architecture. So rather focus on API design.
Mm-hmm.
Start with API design itself, and in your API design, always mention. So one improvement over here in your search API could have been that, see, you can only have a single search API endpoint, and after that you perform or you pass all the parameters as uh, you pass these parameters, which is movie, concert, location, as optional arguments. So either you can have movies is equal to something, then you can have ampersand shows is equal to something, or location is equal to something. This would have been, sir, this would have been a unified interface, and it is now up to the client to choose what all parameters it should pass to the backend. Now backend will extract these parameters. It will be able to construct a SQL query and get all the information for you. Okay, so that is one thing. And the APIs of other services that, for example, booking and other things were missing. Booking and maybe perform payment. Okay, and
Okay.
other than that, once you design the API, always specify what will be the type of method.
Okay,
And
one second.
yes,
Uh,
yes, good.
see, this won't work, right? The first one which you sent, we have different types, right? We have movies, concert, comedy show, something.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we pass movies equal to something, it won't work. Like because we can have here, we can have this also, right? We can have
Mm-hmm.
concert also here. So instead of means we can pass this query string
Yeah, yeah.
first.
So yeah, correct. So instead of movies, so I was just giving an example. So
Yeah,
you could have passed type here, and
yeah,
after
type.
that,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
same
right.
API, yeah, the endpoint will be the same. Just the query parameters will change. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
see, in your on your first page, you'll have type,
Mm-hmm.
which is your movies, concerts, shows, etc.
Mm-hmm.
You select movies and concerts. Okay, your backend will return a list of all the movies and concerts. After that, the API endpoint will be the same. Suppose you want to select movies now, or you want to
Mm-hmm.
select a specific movie for a specific location.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now your API endpoint will be the same. The parameters will change now. your
Hmm.
parameters will be movie is equal to something, type is equal to something. The same extra query parameters will be appended to your search string,
Hmm. Okay.
right?
But
Yeah,
that, okay. All
yeah.
right. I'll go. Okay, cool. Search. So, okay, but
Mhm.
okay, tell me one thing. Then
Yeah, yeah.
this endpoint,
Yeah.
and this endpoint,
Hmm.
passing it in this format.
Hmm.
What's the difference? Means, uh,
Yeah.
actually, that there will be a different. Yeah, means what's the difference between these two?
Yeah.
Unfollow.
See, for these endpoints, slash movie, search slash concert, slash comedy shows, these are 3 or 4 different APIs.
Hmm.
When you have
Right.
4 different APIs, what you'll need 4 different APIs to be implemented in your backend,
Right.
right?
But if we do
Here
it,
you have a single
but
API.
the logic will not be same, right? The for what we want in movies means will it be same for concert comedy shows like?
See, over here, your type and shows and other things will be optional parameters,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Now, using these optional parameters, you're constructing the SQL query.
Mm,
What is more efficient? Having four
no,
different APIs is more efficient, or a single API is more efficient?
yeah, single API is more efficient, no doubt. But a
Yeah.
single API cannot perform the work, right? The single API would be too big to handle, right? Because a single API, search API, would
Hmm.
have to handle the logic for movies, concert, comedy shows, and all those events.
Hmm.
Also, it has to handle the if I pass the movie type, sorry, movie name. So it
Hmm.
also has to integrate the single search endpoint. Also has to handle this uh, movie name. Suppose here.
Yeah, movie name will be there, but
Yeah. So a
now your
single
backend, it is
won't
up
it
to,
be heavy? Won't it be heavy for the single endpoint to handle?
see, single, that is your implementation details, right?
Hmm.
Now,
Right.
you're not concerned about implementation details over here because you already have a scalable system, right? You can
O-
auto scale your system.
Okay.
Now, these parameters, movies, concerts, or comedy shows, these are optional arguments. If
Okay.
one of them is present, if let's say movies is present and concerts, comedy shows is not present, what will
Hmm.
happen? It will search only for movies. Right?
Right.
If only concert is present, it will search for concert. Now, all this heavy lifting will be done by a backend code.
Hmm.
So, implement. You're talking only about a high level design over here, right? Your
Right.
implementation wise, yes, it will be somewhat cumbersome. Maybe right now, at the first glance, it looks intimidating, but
Hmm.
when you implement it, there are many design patterns which you can use, which will simplify all your, which will simplify your actual code.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Means on a high level basis, this would have been my better approach. Like otherwise,
Correct.
I would have to write 10, 12 APIs. But this
Yes.
actually, limits the amount of information and gives a clear cut picture. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
Now, the third thing that I wanted to highlight is always specify the request and response because
Okay.
it becomes easier to model the design as well.
Okay.
Okay,
So where
your
should I
data
mention the
modeling will
request?
become simplified.
Like here, get, yeah,
Yeah, in Get,
something like that.
yeah, no, in general, I'm talking about not only about the search API, booking
Hmm.
and perform payment API, that would have also been simpler because uh, as soon as you design the API, you know what all data points you need, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And the same data points, you'll have those same data points used in your data store as well.
Hmm. Right.
Correct. So, in response, if you get to know that there are 4 or 5 parameters, those 4 or 5 parameters will be a part of your data store as well.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So, both your API design and your data modeling go hand in hand in this case. All right. Request response, and also talk about things like if somebody is not authorized, then what should be the response code, that is 401, or maybe a bad request will be result
Hmm.
in 400, and so
Hmm.
on and so forth. Okay, just touch upon those things. It's not
Okay.
a hard and fast rule to
Hmm.
mention those, but yeah,
Okay.
touch upon those things. Next thing was about
Okay. All right.
yeah,
Okay.
booking system. So read up on
Okay.
concurrency,
Yeah.
concurrency concepts, and how isolation works in database.
Yeah. You told me like in the beginning. not
Yeah.
to implement this locks, right? You,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So just to go to transaction, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So see over here, are you aware of isolation levels in database?
Maybe theory, but not in name wise.
Mhm.
I must have like gone through the information, like what
Yeah,
is
yeah. So, see, you can just read upon isolation levels in the database. There are different isolation levels. You have read committed, read dirty reads, and you have serializable and read uncommitted. So, serializable is the highest isolation level where
that?
two transactions are actually isolated, and if two transactions they access the same record, then the
Hmm.
records are locked. But locking becomes expensive, right?
But
So,
but
yeah.
I've seen like it's like I haven't prepared for last 1 month, but like when
Hmm.
it's preparing like 3 4 months back, I've seen a lot
Hmm.
of videos. They use this locking kind of thing for handling the transaction. Like when you have multiple,
Yeah.
like when you book something and you want to use SQL database.
Hmm.
So in that case, they're using this locks. Means it was very common in the videos I've seen.
See, this those locks are pessimistic locks. Now, there's something known as optimistic locking as well.
Okay.
So, in optimistic locking, you maintain a state or you check the version number and see if it is updated by. So, just to give you an example, let's say you have a field over here updated by which transaction. Okay.
Okay.
Now, how will your SQL query look like? You have update this and this, uh, where updated by is equal to 1, where your, let's say your transaction identifier is 1.
Hmm.
Now if somebody else has updated it, so let's say you have transaction 1 and transaction 2. Okay,
Hmm.
now your transaction 1 has updated it, you
Hmm.
updated the database, or sorry, updated your booking
Hmm.
and added updated by as 1 over here. Okay,
Hmm.
later on the second transaction takes place, both the transactions are going concurrently.
Hmm.
It one is replaced by 2 over here. Fine.
Hmm.
Now later on when the first transaction will try to update the value of the same booking, when
Hmm.
it will find that your update,
Hmm.
when it will
Update
trigger
by
the update
different.
query, update by wouldn't be equal to 1.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Hmm.
this will return how many rows? It will return 0 rows.
Hmm.
0 rows will be affected, and this means that your first transaction will fail in this case. Correct.
Mhm. Mhm. Right.
So this is a optimistic approach where you're not using the logs itself, but you're checking the version number. Okay.
Mhm. Right.
So you know how Git works, right?
Mhm.
It uses version internally. It
Mhm.
uses version control, right? So here
Mhm.
also it's a crude way of using versions.
Mhm. Okay.
So this is an optimistic locking. You can read on optimistic locking if you want. There are many good articles on the internet.
Mhm.
Okay. So optimistic locking is generally used when you have a very highly concurrent system and there are lot many transactions trying to access the same row. Or
Okay.
you can also refer to read upon isolation levels.
Isolation level. Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
but I don't think that I have. Means I do have seen a lot of videos, but I haven't seen any video which have mentioned this optimistic or pessimistic locking, maybe.
Hmm.
Isolation levels.
Hmm.
They only mention like locks and this will do.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
not so much in depth.
yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Anyways, the videos are half-baked information. So,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
one guy might upload that video, and the same video, the content will be lifted by other guys as well. So
Yeah.
you'll see a lot of similarity between the videos as well. So
Exactly, that's the thing. That's the thing. They're hardly like 10-20% difference. Otherwise, almost the
yeah,
same. You don't see this kind of information there.
right. Okay, next thing is about the consistency in payment. So the last question which I had asked was, how do you ensure that booking service
Mhm.
and payment service are consistencies? Now see, there are two approaches to this. Either you can use cron jobs
Yeah, I
or
haven't
you
done
can
that.
use queuing mechanism.
And I haven't. Okay,
Have you heard about cron jobs?
no, I
Okay,
haven't.
the cron jobs are nothing but see, it's a daemon task which runs in the process. Now, payment system, your payment service has changed the status of your payment to success, right? And your
Hmm.
booking service uh, is is still considering your transaction to be in a pending state, or
Hmm.
the status of your booking is pending. Now,
Hmm.
you run a daemon process,
Hmm.
you perform a API call, let's say get
Hmm.
payment info, and this get payment info returns the status of the transaction. Now, status
Hmm.
of the transaction, all the your cron job iterates to all the pending transaction, checks the status. If the status is success, then it updates the booking
Okay.
status
I mean,
accordingly.
background running mechanism for
Yes,
quick.
correct.
Okay.
That is one thing. Second thing is you can use a queuing mechanism. In queuing mechanism, you are using a asynchronous. You are updating the status of booking service asynchronously by using distributed log. So actually, queuing mechanism, there are two parts to it. You can have either have a publisher subscriber mechanism or you can have a queuing mechanism. But you can use a distributed commit log similar to how Kafka does. Okay,
Okay.
so Kafka combines best of both the worlds of your message queues and your publisher subscriber mechanism.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so this is about consistency, and few more things I wanted to highlight is since you're driving the interviews, always talk about latency, throughput. Okay,
Hmm.
and also discuss things on consistency versus availability.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I see. Doing everything, all of this within 40-45 minutes is a tough job.
Yeah, just touch upon a few things, that is latency, throughput, and
Mm.
consistency availability. That's it. And other than that, yeah. So there's no correct. There's no perfect answer to any system design interview. It's just how you answer or discuss the trade-offs with the interviewer.
Mm. Right.
Okay.
Mm. Okay. So yeah, feedback for me. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of things we learned. Let me share the screenshot. How do you save screenshot?
Screenshot. No, no use of screenshot. I think that should be sufficient.
No,
You'll be able to use this link.
I can use this information later, right? It's anyway,
Yeah, I think.
it's my own,
Yeah,
so
it's your this thing, right?
mm,
Your
mm,
Google Doc, so you'll be able to access it anytime.
mm. Okay.
All right, Aman. I think
Uh,
that's it.
no, any feedback for me? Like,
Yeah, I think I have highlighted most of the things. So
mm,
this was the only feedback that I wanted to share. Was
okay.
these six things,
Mm,
and other than that, yeah, just practice all the questions or different types of system design interview questions. You'll get more and more clarity on. We did not talk about few things like what will be the interaction between the client and the server, right? In
mm,
this case, so for example, your booking is in progress. Now your page will display a progress bar. Now
mm,
how do you implement that progress bar? We did not touch upon that because 1 hour wouldn't have been sufficient, but you might get these in other types of
mm.
interviews, that is,
Okay. No,
okay,
yeah, I do
when
still
you're
have.
booking for Swiggy or something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I do have some more questions. Like, see, you told me this should go hand in hand, right? This API design and the database design. So,
Mhm.
while designing the API, should I be also be designing this? What are the fields in DB? Like, it goes mostly in low level design, right? Or should I also mention it during the high level? Like,
See, it depends on. You can ask the interviewer, because see, when you're designing a response, it means that you're getting the data from somewhere. And where are you getting the data from? You're getting from the database, right?
hmm,
So when you're talking about database, I'm not referring to the actual database schema, but you get an idea of what all fields you will have in your database in this case.
hmm.
So actual database schema is you creating an index. What will be the index?
Yeah,
I think we did not cover caching as well. So
yeah,
touch upon caching part as well.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway,
Mhm.
but yeah, if I would have designed like this, all this database schema, they know also it would have taken a lot of time, yeah, because
Yeah.
so it's not
No,
like
it depends. So I don't expect you to have a designing request and response for each and every API, but I think booking service and payment service, that would have been more than sufficient.
okay.
So booking service, the only thing is that you'd have few fields. So generally, 2 or 3 APIs would be sufficient.
Hmm. Okay,
Yeah,
all right. This is a good
and
feedback.
also read upon sharding.
Mhm.
We didn't cover sharding as well.
Yeah,
So
yes.
this thing, caching and sharding, that should be fine.
Hmm. Okay.